Hello, it's yours truly again. Chapter 11 is about forming relationships in both young and middle adulthood. So friendships is the first thing you'll be learning about. Basically, the role and influence of friends for young adults is of major importance, both from late teens to the mid-20s, as they're making new friends as they're going to college and maybe looking at dating someone for the purpose of marriage. So there's lots of things we're going to be talking about in this chapter. You're also going to read about online friendships. More and more people today are meeting online, conversing online. A lot of marriages, people who marry may have met online today way more than in the past. As we look at love relationships, passion, intimacy, and commitment are the key components of love. There is also an emerging interest in the hookup culture. I shouldn't say emerging interest because it's been around a while, but it has been increasing. Both men and women are interested in having hookup sex, but they're also realizing that this can become very complicated, and 3/4 of those men and women eventually express some level of regret at having hooked up to have sex. There's unplanned pregnancies, there's disease, so there's often things that can occur that make it a very, very complicated issue. Also, violence in relationships. An abusive relationship is defined as a relationship that becomes violent, where a partner becomes aggressive toward the other. The battered women syndrome, that's where a woman feels trapped. She feels like she cannot leave that abusive situation. Two things happen here. She's fearful of getting out of it because she's fearful of what the other person is going to do to them if they try to get out, or they have come to believe that they cannot do any better. The person has psychologically abused them to the point where they think that if they get out of this relationship, then they won't find anybody else. But both of those things are very untrue. Particularly young women. Now, young men can be in an abusive relationship as well, but usually it is a young woman. She needs to get out. She needs to have the help to get out so that she can get on with her life. The different types of lifestyles and relationships you're going to talk about in this chapter. Being single, and more people are choosing to remain single. Cohabitation, that's living together before marriage, and I think the idea is that if we live together, then that will make our marriage successful. But studies show that couples who have lived together first have a higher divorce rate and tend to be less happy. So there's some things there to consider. Those couples that are happy share financial responsibility and child care responsibilities. They say that those couples that are happiest are those where the husband, especially when there's children involved, helps out more with household duties, especially with both people working outside the home. Then the husband needs to share in the household duties. And I say husband, but if they're living together, then the male partner, the more he helps out, the happier the relationship is going to be. Your chapter also talks about the LGBTQ relationship, and those have the same factors of prediction for success as heterosexual relationships. So sexual orientation doesn't matter there. Through the findings that suggest successful marriages, predictors of successful marriages, those where couples have a respect for emotion, that attitude toward marriage is the same. They both want to be married, similar expression of love, regard for views and to the likings of the spouse, ignoring weaknesses. We all have our weaknesses, so we have to accept that and just ignore some things. Sexual adjustment, our temperament, easy, slow to warm, difficult temperaments, our values, similar tastes, and interests. For couples with children, marital satisfaction tends to decline until the children leave home. It's a job to raise children. So you have to remember that your marriage needs to be a priority. We've already had this discussion in some of our threaded discussions. To keep a marriage happy, couples must be flexible, adaptable, and communicate well with one another. You have to make time for the relationship, make it a priority. That's what I just was talking about. Express your love. Let the other person know that you love them. Be there in times of need. Communicate positively. Be careful when you communicate, full of care. Be interested in your spouse. It's not all about you. Put them first. Confide in your spouse. And then forgive minor offenses and try to understand major ones. Again, nobody is perfect. So who gets divorced and why? Currently, the odds are 50-50, and that's been that way for a long time. So I'm glad it hasn't gotten any worse. And those reasons that your book talks about for divorce are infidelity, incompatibility, drinking or drug use, and then growing apart. I have come to learn that the #1 reason that marriages fail is unrealistic expectations. People think when they get married everything is going to be perfect and it's going to be easy. No, marriages are work. Life is full of challenges, so you have to expect them and work through them. And remember, attitude is everything. Another quote that I enjoy, I don't know who said this, but if you're going to fight, fight for the relationship to win. So it's a fight, positive fight, not a one-upsman or you're a winner, I'm a loser. You both come out winners. So enjoy this chapter and learning about relationships. And I do want to, this was a shorter one, so I do have time today to share more on the wisdom of wolves. This quote was by Vince Lombardi. Individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, a civilization work. So I thought about that when I was thinking about relationships and successful marriages. We have to have individual commitment to a group effort. And you'll have, in one of my threaded discussions, you're going to learn about what does it take for a successful relationship. What percent does each person have to put into that relationship? So you can look forward to reading about that. And then this is an anonymous quote. There is no limit to what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. So don't be one that has to have the credit. In fact, be one who wants to give other people the credit. Have a great week.